Today on the TNT Podcast, I am going to be trying to convince my dad that the Fouke Monster exists and lives in Arkansas.
Hey, let me stop right there. It's something I want to tell you.
What?
Um, you remember how excited you got when you got that 4?
Yeah, I jumped out of my chair.
Yeah. There is one cryptid that you will get a 10 on from me because I saw it.
There's a cryptid out there.
Yes, sir. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. For real.
How have I never heard about this? I've been trying to convince you that cryptids and ghosts and ghouls and demons are real for so long, even before this podcast, and you never told me this?
Nope. People look at you like you're crazy and tell them you saw a cryptid.
I've been trying to convince you they're real. I wouldn't
But
look at you like you're crazy.
This happened in 1998.
Before I was born?
Yeah, before you was born. Might explain why you have so much brain damage.
Let's continue the show. So, the Fouke Monster. It might have been the Fouke Monster. We might have already got our 10. Let's see. This creature is supposed to be a Bigfoot type animal that attacked a family in Fouke, Arkansas. Have you heard of the Fouke Monster before?
Yep. I seen the movie, and I went to Dallas, Texas on a trip with my dad when I was 13, and we went about 10 miles past Fouke. And there's nothing out there but woods, no lights, nothing. You go for 5 miles and not even see a house. I mean, this is in the sticks.
Wow.
This
So I
was
guess
after midnight when we went through there.
Guess it makes sense for a monster to be living in it.
Oh, yeah.
The, the creature seemed to have appeared in 1971 in the southern swamps of Arkansas. This animal became so famous that they made a movie about it called The Legend of Boggy Creek, which came out in 1972.
Yeah. Then the return to Boggy Creek in 77. Then Boggy Creek 2 in 85. Boggy Creek, The Legend is True, 2010. Legacy of Boggy Creek, 2011. Boggy Creek Monster, 2016. He has more sequels than Jason in Friday the 13th. I mean, he just can't be killed.
The creature was first seen in 1851 until 1856.
Before the Civil War.
Yeah. And then it showed up again in 1964, randomly.
How old is this thing? It's a fossil. It's an antique.
It can live longer than us.
Oh, okay.
It uses, like, other sciences. And in 1955, it was spotted by a 14-year-old boy who shot at it with a shotgun loaded with birdshot. He stated that the creature didn't even react to being hit with the pellets, and he described it as having this reddish-brown hair. He said it reminded him of a bear.
Now you got it.
No, it's not a bear, though.
Oh.
And it gets worse than that. On May 2nd, 1971, a day after my birthday, it attacked the house of Bobby and Elizabeth Ford. And now, tell me, a bear would not attack a house for
Why not? Maybe he didn't like the color of their siding.
Anyways, while her husband was away, Elizabeth Ford fell asleep on the couch in the living room beside an open window, and it is said that the Fouke Monster reached through the window with a hairy arm and attempted to grab her. She thought it was nothing more than a bear at the time, but when her husband got home from work, she told him what happened, and he called his brother, Don Ford, to come and assist him in killing this quote-unquote bear. And while they were in front of the house inspecting the tracks, they saw the creature again and proceeded to fire several times at it. They swore they had hit it, but there was no sign of blood anywhere.
No sign of blood.
There's no blood.
They didn't hit it. Probably too drunk to shoot straight.
While they were outside looking for this thing, it managed to get close enough to grab Bobby Ford. He panicked, and when he got loose, he raced into the house, forgetting to open the screen door. So he just barreled through the door.
Barrel through the door.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now, what's his brother doing during all this pandemonium? Is he standing there laughing at him?
He didn't.
Did he forget they were chasing a monster? Oh, I know. These are Arkansas rednecks. He's over there digging in a cooler for another beer.
Wasn't stated in it. He might not have seen it.
It wasn't stated.
No, he wasn't stated as seeing it.
He didn't see his brother run through a screen door?
He might have been looking somewhere else.
You say so.
The two brothers called the sheriff, and he came out and made a report. Bobby Ford was carried to the hospital to be checked out because he seemed to be in shock, and scratched up, from running through the door.
Wait a minute. You're going to actually go to the hospital and say, I need to be checked out. I ran through my screen door. Now I know they were drunk.
Because of Fouke Monster, though. If you add that part, it makes it sound a little less crazy.
Okay.
He told the sheriff that the creature stood 7 feet tall and was about 3 feet wide at the chest. He walked on 2 legs extremely fast, and while he was at the hospital, his brother Don and a friend named Charles Taylor saw the creature again at his house and shot at it 7 more times with their shotgun.
Okay. Okay. They're going to have to get a 30-06. You can't kill a bear with a shotgun.
It returned the following night and tried to get in the house again.
Man, this thing is like the Amityville Horror. It just won't go away. How many times does the monster have to say get out before you get out?
Okay. This time it had a glowing red eyes, like coals of fire. They shot at it several more times. Then
Get rid of the shotgun, dummies.
Then they called a constable, who brought them a better shotgun. They waited on
A better shotgun.
Yeah. They waited on the porch and saw it approaching in the darkness. This time when they shot it, they saw it collapse on the ground. They immediately went to the spot where it fell to see if they had killed it, and at that moment, Don Ford heard the 2 wives screaming in their house. He raced to save them, but just as he reached the front porch, a hairy arm came from over his shoulder and dragged him to the ground. He claimed that he stared into its eyes, and it was breathing really hard.
Did he say what his breath smelled like?
What?
He's breathing real hard, staring in his eyes. I just wonder what his breath smelled like.
He didn't state what its breath smelled like, so obviously it didn't leave much of a mark. Probably smelled something like a bear, I'd imagine. You ever smelled a bear before?
Yeah.
When did you smell a bear?
Took Chase to Gatlinburg when he was 4, and they let him pet a bear cub. Woo! Smelled like 10 times worse than a wet dog. We took like 3 gallons of Germ-X just to get the smell off his hand.
I just want to get this 100% straight. You saw a cryptid once, and you've pet a bear before.
I didn't pet the bear. Chase petted the bear.
You've been around a bear, and you didn't tell me any of these stories before? What else do I not know about you?
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you when you remind me of them.
Okay. Don Ford finally got away from it and raced into the house. They again called the constable, and he came and stayed until 5 in the morning, but it wasn't seen again, and the Ford family moved out the next day for obvious reasons. But this was...
Hold on a minute. So they figured it out finally. It's time to move out.
Yeah.
But when the police are there, he don't show up. So maybe this thing is scared of the police. And here it is, it's attacking our house, attacking our wives, attacking our husbands.
This wasn't the end.
Maybe it's a guy dressed in a gorilla suit because they moved too close to his weed patch.
Okay. This wasn't the end of the Fouke Monster. 3 weeks later, 3 people saw the creature crossing the highway. They stated that it looked like a naked man covered in brown hair.
A naked man covered... He's just a nature lover.
He's not a nature lover. It continued to be spotted for several more months. It left tracks in the field. And the strangest part is that this creature, its feet, it had 17-inch foot tracks and only had 3 toes and a very narrow foot, which is not what you would expect from a creature like this at all.
Wait a minute, 3 toes.
3 toes.
Maybe he got frostbite. Lost a couple of them. It's been known to happen.
No, but the toes were big enough to where they matched the size of the foot. He didn't lose any feet. He just had 3 toes.
A chicken has 3 toes.
You think this is a chicken?
I don't know.
I think it's nothing like we've ever seen before. So obviously it's not our science, but it was said to smell like a cross between a skunk and a wet dog. And a $1,000 reward was offered by a local radio station. But that was never claimed. Dogs were brought in to track the animal, but they refused to go in it, and then to go after it. And then in 1974, it again disappeared, only to leave the same strange tracks, starting again in 1978. During that year...
Oh, so he disappears for 4 years.
Yeah.
But he shows up again just in time for the sequel movie. Now that's how you sell a movie.
During that year, it was blamed for killing livestock and attacking dogs. And now a university professor claimed it was a hoax because apes only have 5 toes and are not nocturnal. However, here is the important part. The mayor and the sheriff both claimed they didn't believe in the monster, but they refused to call the witnesses liars because the witnesses were respectable and upstanding citizens, the type of people that wouldn't lie about this sort of thing for any reason. And according to what I've been able to find, it hasn't been seen since 1978. That was its last sighting.
Maybe it finally got old and died.
That's a possibility. That it lived for hundreds of years and then died now. You know.
Maybe he broke his walker and he can't get around no more.
That's the end of my research. That's where I conclude this. So I must ask you, as I ask you all the time. And since we got such a good score on the Mothman one, I'm having high hopes for this one. So, Dad, what is your final score on the Fouke Monster on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it real?
You know, that Fouke Monster's a bad boy because I just Googled a picture of him. They got a picture of him eating a hornet's nest. Now, you got to be tough to eat a hornet's nest. He's got to be like the honey badger. He don't care.
Is that what you're doing on your phone over there?
Yes. I want to see what he looked like.
I just described
They
it.
eat hornet nests. How do they know that? I didn't hear that in your story.
I didn't. It's not my research, but what else would he eat in there? Other bears? I mean,
Fouke Monster.
what are you
3 toes, a very narrow foot. Now, how's that going to support the weight of something 7 foot tall that big? It don't make sense.
That's
The
what,
scientist is probably right.
he uses other sciences that we don't know about.
Yeah, no, that's not what the scientist said. The scientist said it's a hoax.
That's not. He was just saying.
He was just saying, but that's what he said.
He
He was right when he said what he said.
He said that it. Okay. He said that it was a hoax because he just said it wasn't an ape. That doesn't mean it's a hoax.
I mean, I like the Fouke Monster because we went out there. It was my first exposure to being close to somewhere where somebody. And at 13, I thought Bigfoot was cool. You know,
Yeah.
it would be neat if it was real. But I'm gonna give him a 2.
That's more than what you usually would give something like this.
And that's the reason I'm giving him a 2 because I thought it was pretty cool at the time. It was a cool movie for a B movie.
I think what we're trying
I
to get.
can't even remember what he did in the movie. I don't remember him breathing in nobody's grill in the movie. Do you?
I never watched the movies.
You didn't watch a movie? You doing podcast on this and you don't even watch a movie?
Well, I don't get my research from watching movies.
Oh, I just assumed.
Also, I don't watch movies that much. You know this about me.
Yeah.
But
All you watch is Xbox.
okay. But what I'm gonna say is, what's your? So you gave it a 2.
2.
That's. I feel like we're getting better. I feel like the scores are raising. Usually it's like a 1 or a 0 or whatever. I got a 4 last time and a 2 this time. They are gradually going up.
Hey, but
And
there is a 10 waiting on you out there.
I'm gonna find it if it is the last thing I do.
You heard him. If you got any suggestions, send them to him.
Thank you for listening.
TNT out.
I'm gonna find it.